Hey everyone, I'm Armor Gaming. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Monster Analysis. Up for analysis today is Vanoss. Put your hands up for the gangster member of the Who family. Vanoss is in the house with endless rhymes, a sick beat, and a ton of golden diamonds. And you would think a monster with this much gold around his neck would have a higher GPM than 244, something like 305, but that's whatever. As for his design, well, it's just Vanoss looking really thuggish, so there we have him from his childhood form to his teenage years to his adult form. And at the time this video was recorded, there were 22 metal legendary monsters, so Vanoss's stats will be compared to the rest of them. And so we start things off with a power of 3069, and what can I say, this is one of the worst powers for metal monsters. This actually puts him in 21st place. And actually the metal monster with the lowest power is Timerion, who can't even deal damage. So I guess you can say Vanoss is the weakest metal monster in terms of damage output. So I guess technically it's fair to say that Vanoss has the worst power. His life on the other hand is a little better, 30,763. This actually puts him in 6th place for metal legendary monsters. And unfortunately his speed is 3,311, and this is again one of the worst stats for metal legendary monsters. This actually puts him in 20th place, only ahead of Holter's Pet and Hercule. And to make matters worse, people that have Hercule, most likely they have him ranked up to level 115. So Hercule, even though he does have a lower base speed at level 100, most people aren't going to have a level 100 Hercule, they're going to have a level 115 Hercule. So Vanoss's speed, pretty bad, his power, pretty bad, his life is really the only good stat about him. And as for his trait, he has Hardened. All status effects have a 20% less accuracy against it. So in a way, having this trait sort of compensates for his terrible stats, because when you face off against metal monsters, you have to worry about being stunned and being possessed. So thankfully for Vanoss, he has Hardened, so there's a 20% chance he won't be immobilized. So anyways, onto his default skills. Los Santos My Hood, pump it up, nothing too interesting there, just regular default skills. His special on the other hand, My Crib, My Rules. Deals very heavy damage to one enemy, removes all positive status effects from all enemies, removes all negative status effects from all allies. So this is a metal based attack that targets one single individual enemy, and at the same time, any buffs your enemy may have, it completely wipes it out, and any debuffs your team may have, it completely wipes it out. So this is really a supportive based ultimate attack. I'm personally not really a fan of it. The 70 damage is nice, but it does only target a single enemy, and it's metal based, so if you were ever to use this attack against the enemy metal monster, it's really not going to deal much damage, especially when you consider the fact that Vanoss has the lowest power for metal monsters. Nonetheless, if your opponents have any buffs or if your team has any debuffs, it's a good skill to get rid of all that. So next, let's talk about skills group 1. We have Dance in the Trance, My Gang, and Mic Drop. And actually, unlike other monsters, there's two skills in skills group 1 that you might want to consider running. The first of which is My Gang. Deals moderate special damage, removes all negative status effects from all allies. This is a special based attack that deals 40 damage to a single enemy, it costs 28 stamina, and it only has a 1 turn cooldown. The reason I think people might want to consider running this skill is because of its effect. This skill can remove all negative status effects from your allies. Remember earlier that I said when you fight metal monsters, you have to worry about being possessed and you have to worry about being stunned. Well, because Vanoss has Hardened, that means 20% of the time he's not going to be immobilized, which means even if the rest of your team is immobilized, if it happens to be Vanoss's turn and he wasn't immobilized, he could just use My Gang and rid your whole team of an immobilizing effect. The other skill you might want to consider running is Mic Drop. Deals moderate special damage, gives immunity to daze and blind to all allies. This is a special based skill that deals 40 damage to a single enemy, so this skill will give 2 immunities to all of your allies, immunity to daze and immunity to blind. Now for the most part, the monsters that actually dish out daze and blind tend to be light monsters, so if you were ever to have a team wars involving metal and light, Vanoss is a viable option just because of Mic Drop. So anyways, let's talk about skills group 2. We have Spinning Records. Deals heavy metal damage, 50% chance of stunning target. So this is a metal based attack that deals 50 damage to a single enemy, it costs 26 stamina, and it has a 0 turn cooldown, and there's a 50% chance you might stun the enemy. Now 50% chance to stun, that's not what you want. This monster, as you're seeing, is more of a supportive based monster, so with him you really don't have any room for skills that only have a 50% chance to do anything. Spinning Records, don't even think about running this skill. The following skill is called My Hood. Deals heavy special damage, removes all negative status effects from allies. So My Hood is a special based attack that deals 50 damage to a single enemy, it costs 28 stamina, and it has a 1 turn cooldown. And this does essentially the same thing as My Gang, except it deals 10 more damage. So obviously if you're trying to decide between running My Gang or My Hood, you want to go with My Hood. However, I will argue that it's also quite feasible to run both My Gang and My Hood in a single build. And the reason you might want to think about doing that is because every single turn, if you needed to, you would be able to cycle between My Hood and My Gang. For example, suppose the enemy was to do an AoE burn on you, and then you got rid of it with My Gang, and then suppose another enemy monster was to do an AoE poison on you, you'd be able to get rid of it with My Hood, and then on the following turn, if your monsters had some other negative effect, you'd be able to use My Gang again. So running both of these skills could be a really good option. But anyway, the following skill is called Drop the Base. Deals very heavy special damage, gives immunity to burn, poison, and nightmares to all allies. This is a special based attack that deals 60 damage to a single enemy. It costs 39 stamina and has a 2-turn cooldown. And your whole entire team will get immunity to burning, immune to nightmares, and immunity to poison. Now in the realm of metal monsters, I think you only really have to worry about being burned, but if you were ever to go up against nature monsters, you would have to worry about being poisoned. If you go up against dark, you would have to worry about nightmares. So this skill is really versatile. Again, it's another skill you may want to consider running. With that being said, let's talk about skills group 3. Look at my kicks. Deals very heavy metal damage, may stun target, requires cooldown. This is a metal based attack that deals 60 damage to a single enemy. It costs 31 stamina and it only has a 1-turn cooldown. A 1-turn cooldown stun, that is a-okay in my opinion. You definitely want to run this skill because you never know when you need that immobilizing move to secure the victory. The next skill we have here is My Crew. Deals low special damage to all enemies, removes all negative status effects from allies, requires cooldown. My Crew is a special based AoE that deals 30 damage to all of the enemy monsters. It costs 35 stamina and it has a 2-turn cooldown. Now I'm actually not a fan of My Crew. Yes, it's an AoE, but you gotta keep in mind that Vanoss has a low power to begin with, and 30 damage, that makes it even lower. Because with Vanoss, you're not after damage output, you're after the skills. You want the skill to remove all debuffs from your team. So really, you're better off going with My Hood. And last but not least, we have Take a Chill Pill. Deals heavy metal damage, gives immunity to stun, freeze, and possession to all allies, requires cooldown. Take a Chill Pill is a metal based AoE that deals 50 damage to all of the enemy monsters. It costs 45 stamina and it has a high 4-turn cooldown. And your whole entire team will be immune to stun and immune to freeze for 2 full turns, as well as being immune to possession for 3 full turns. Take a Chill Pill is by far one of the best defensive skills in the whole entire game, because realistically, stun, freeze, and possession, those are the main immobilizing skills. The other main immobilizing skill is stamina drain, but there's currently no counter to that. So the fact that Vanoss has a skill that can give his whole team immunity to the main possession skills, that is amazing. Unfortunately for Vanoss, like I mentioned, he has one of the slowest speeds. So unless you rank this monster up, unless you have better speedruns than your opponent, you really can't count on using this skill. Well, to be 100% fair, I shouldn't say you can't count on it, because keep in mind that Vanoss does have Harden, which means there's a 20% chance he won't be possessed, he won't be frozen, he won't be stunned. Whatever he's facing, if you run all speedruns on Vanoss and your opponent runs all speedruns on their Deny monster, there's a 20% chance they won't be able to immobilize Vanoss, which means you'd be able to start the game off with Take a Chill Pill. So it could potentially work, only 20% of the time though. So the interesting thing about this monster, if you notice, from every single skills group, there was only one skill I didn't recommend. From skills group 3 it was My Crew, from skills group 2 it was Spinning Records, and from skills group 1 it was Dance in Trance. Which means that for Vanoss there are 6 possible skills to choose from, and when you have 6 different skills to choose from, that means there's many possible skill sets. So I'm going to do my best to help you guys decide what the best skill sets are for this monster. In my opinion, the 2 skill sets that are must have for Vanoss would be Take a Chill Pill and Look at My Kicks. Look at My Kicks, as I explained, is a no-brainer. You just never know when having that final mobilizing skill can come in handy. This skill could mean the difference between winning or losing the game. Take a Chill Pill is pretty obvious too. Immune to stun, immune to freeze, immune to possession. There's nothing more to say. Thus, that leads us with deciding between My Gang, Mic Drop, My Hood, and Drop the Bass. And at this point, there isn't really such a thing as an incorrect skill set. It really just comes down to preference. What kind of skill would you like to have on your Vanoss? For me personally, if I was to have this monster, I think I would run My Gang and My Hood, just so I could always have that ability to cycle between both of the skills if I ever needed to. Between My Gang and My Hood, however, it's a no-brainer that you'd want to go with My Hood if you only had to decide between one of those. I will say, however, that although it isn't necessary to run a skill that removes all debuffs from your team, I do highly recommend it. So if Take a Chill Pill and Look at My Kicks are for sure skills, and then you decide you want to go with My Hood, that only leaves Mic Drop or Drop the Bass. And that is a rather difficult choice. Mic Drop only deals 40 damage, whereas Drop the Bass deals 60 damage. So clearly, in terms of damage output, Drop the Bass is better. But once again, you have to remember that Vanoss is not an attacker, so it doesn't matter if it does deal 60 damage as opposed to 40 damage. Mic Drop gives you an immunity to daze and blind. If you're dazed, your damage output and your accuracy both get reduced by 25%, and if you're blinded, your accuracy would be reduced by 50%. Burning reduces a monster's health by 15% for 3 turns for a grand total of 45%. Poison reduces a monster's power by 20% and reduces their health by 10% for 4 turns, and Nightmare initially reduces a monster's stamina by 10% and reduces the monster's life by 5% for 3 turns for a grand total of 15%. So it's really up to you. What are you more afraid of? What do you think you're going to encounter more? If you think you're going to encounter lots of light monsters, monsters that can daze and blind, go with Mic Drop. If you're scared of damage over time effects, go with Drop the Bass. Or if you really don't know what to do, you can just go ahead and use My Combo. Run My Gang, and it wouldn't matter if you were to get blinded or if you were to get burned, My Hood and My Gang would be able to clear all those negative effects. I mean, heck, you'd even be able to clear more negative effects, like stamina leak, bleeding, debilitating shadows. There are just so many different negative effects you could remove thanks to My Hood and My Gang. But ultimately, the choice is up to you. So once again, my recommended skills for Vanoss are Look at My Kicks, Take a Chill Pill, My Hood, and My Gang. If you're not a fan of running both My Hood and My Gang, then instead of running My Gang, run either Mic Drop or Drop the Bass. And as for what runes surround this monster, I think it goes without saying you'd want to give this monster 3 speed runes. If for most battles you have better speed runes than your opponent, then you're going to have an easy time winning with Vanoss. If however you and your opponent have the same level runes or they have better runes, Vanoss might not be that great of a choice in Team Wars. Currently for metal monsters, the Sentinel and Mechamancer have possession skills and they are way faster than Vanoss. And then there's also Metalhead that has an AoE stun and a single possession, and he's way faster than Vanoss. And even Timerion is faster than Vanoss, so if you were to encounter any of those metal monsters in a Team Wars and you and your opponent have the same level runes, Vanoss is most likely going to be going second. But like I already mentioned, because Vanoss has hardened, even if the Sentinel or Mechamancer was to do AoE possession, there is a 20% chance you won't get possessed, and if that is the case, you'll be able to recover swiftly. And with that being said, that is going to conclude my analysis on Vanoss. Please let me know what you thought about the analysis, and more importantly, let me know what you think about this monster. Do you think he's good or do you think he's not so good? How do you think Vanoss compares to the other metal monsters? Please be sure to let me know in the comments below. Also, please let me know what monster you want to see analyzed next. And like always, remember to dream big and pursue your passions.